And we're pleased to have with us Kristin Hartness, who's the Executive Director of Canines for Disabled Kids, and with her is Asha,
Yes.
the service dog. Well, you know, at the Chamber, primarily our membership consists of businesses, but we do have organizations and institutions and a handful of charitable kind of nonprofit organizations that work in the community and use the Chamber as a vehicle to kind of network and build volunteers and get the word out. And we're pleased to have, as a relatively new member, Canines for Disabled Kids. And maybe, Kristin, you could tell us a little bit about the organization.
Thank you so much. This is a great opportunity,
Yeah.
and we really appreciate it. The organization, Canines for Disabled Kids, is going to be 20 years old in March. We moved into Worcester about 5 years ago. We really felt that we would be better able to serve the folks that we're here to serve by being in Worcester. And it has a lot to do with what you were talking about in the previous segment about accessibility to the city. So for us, that means not necessarily accessibility for shipping packages and such, but it means physical accessibility to everything that we do in our daily lives. Our goal is to make sure that everyone, specifically all the children that we have across the state and across the country, who have to face life with a disability, with some reason that their body doesn't work the way it's supposed to. We all need tools, and this tool is an amazing multi-tool that is addressing huge issues for children, very young children, right on with no upper age limit. So we're here to make sure that not only are the families getting the right information, we work closely with each family to make sure that they understand what a service dog is, that they are looking for the right specific trained skills, that they're getting a qualified service dog from a training program or from a trainer. We're looking to help fund those animals, which cost between $25,000 and $35,000 to produce. And we're looking to make sure that the businesses in the community, that all the activities that the community is doing are accessible and prepared to welcome and support legal service animals.
And just to, so when you go through that process, just from the beginning, if, you know, how is it, if there's a family out there that has a child, you know, that has some challenges, you know, how is it that they would make that determination or understand that a service dog might be an important tool, as you described, and how are you engaging and kind of getting the word out?
So we're doing that in a couple of different ways. There's obviously a portion of people who are just doing internet searches and finding us that way, so we try to have a good web presence, a good social media presence as well. But we're also being very active. We're working in the school systems, doing presentations, educating students, sending home that information, both for the able-bodied students as well as for the students who may need another specialized tool. We are working, we are open to coming into meetings for civic groups like Lions and Rotaries and speaking at venues like that. We work very heavily to speak at conferences that are sometimes disability specific, but sometimes more broad, things like the Abilities Expo and such. Any opportunity we have to get in front of the public, whether we're talking directly to students, whether we're talking to parents, whether we're talking to businesses, so that that word then spreads out. I will say that about half the calls I get are people who say to me, a friend of mine heard you speak, a friend of mine saw your presentation and suggested that I talk to you. We really love when families call us at the very beginning. Parents who are saying, I want to help my child. Sometimes it's a social worker, sometimes it's a teacher who says, I have a student who may be eligible. Can you talk to me about what that means? Right at the beginning, we start with what is the disability? How is it? What are the limitations? Can a dog be trained to help those limitations? Because it's really important to separate out the emotional support and the companionship from a service dog, because that's not a service dog skill. We get that. I mean, he looked at me this morning like, hey, let's get up, and I felt better.
Yeah.
But that's not the role of a service dog. A service dog's role is to use trained skills to help you be more independent from the limitations caused by your disability.
And, you know, you alluded to the dollar amount, but, you know, there's not just buying the dog, but the training to be able to do the task that's required is pretty substantial.
It's very substantial. When we're working with training programs, we work with training programs all over the country. There's several really great ones here in the state, but depending on what the individual needs, we need to help them find the right one. It's like picking a college in some ways.
Right.
They are putting a lot of effort. It takes 2 years to train a service dog. Ideally, the dog would start at 8 weeks of age. They are not grown up until they're 2, so they're not really ready mentally to work until they're 2 years old. We have medical that goes into these animals. These animals have to be at top form, and they have to maintain that top form for their entire working career. While most training programs are nonprofits and don't ask the families to raise the entire amount, they're looking for other sources, the families are still asked to raise a significant portion of that. In addition, the additional services and support that we give, for example, we have several area schools that we've worked with when a student was going to be bringing a dog to school, and we come in, we make sure the staff is trained and all that. All of that costs money, but we don't want to charge the families for that. We want to be able to give them scholarships to help cover some of the money that they need to pay for the dog. And all of that for us is done through private donations from businesses and individuals in the community.
So Kristin, we just have a minute left, but if someone is out there interested or knows someone that may benefit from a service dog, or somebody's a business or an individual out there wants to learn more, volunteer, contribute, how could they access and learn more or get in touch with you?
So they can do that through, they can call me directly at our office, 978-422-5299. They can shoot us an email at info@caninesforkids.org, or they can check out our website at www.caninesforkids.org. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, Kristin, great to have you with us, and Asha as well.